Oh, good evening and welcome to the FITT Show. Financial information for today and tomorrow. I'm Bobby P. Kinzer.
And I'm Thomas Doty.
And we are the FITT Show, helping our people get their finances in shape. Welcome everybody around the country and around the world. We know you tuning in to one of the most top financial education shows on the planet, the FITT Show. We come to you every Thursday at 8 p.m. We're glad for everybody tuning in this week. We got a lot of information. Make sure you share on Facebook Live and you subscribe on YouTube. One of the things that really help us if you actually put information in the comment box, that also helps us to expand our reach to people. Also, don't forget to click on that like button and the heart button. That gives us traction to get to more people. I want to thank everybody for doing that. That's our administrative things. And we just want to remind you, we are not financial advisors. We do not have any fiduciary responsibilities or licenses. We're just financial educators. And like, just glad for everybody who's tuning in. We try to provide you as much information as you can. Now, last week's show was Is Your Bank Working For You? We hope that was a lot of helpful information because a lot of people are paying more fees than they have to with the banks that they've been traditionally staying with and felt so comfortable with. But you don't have to. You know, there's other banks right across the street that can maximize your money because the bank is using your money. You want to use your own money. So make sure you get the best interest rates you can and the best services from your banks. But this week, we're going to be talking about common ways that people waste money. Now, that should be a big one. Common ways that people waste money. This comes near and dear to me, close to my heart, because man, there's so many people trying to get that extra dollar out your pocket, though. You know, it's like everybody, yeah, it's just like today they said it was so cold in DC, they saw the congressman with his hands in his own pockets. So so let's get to the top of the show. What one of the main topics everybody loves is talking about the stock market. Let's kick it off, though.
It's been really a roller coaster ride. The market took a couple hits earlier this week when it was announced that the Fed wasn't going to lower interest rates. And market took a big hit, but then it came back really strong. I mean, the day was just a crazy day. For the week, Dow was only up about 300 points, almost 1%. NASDAQ is almost up 1% too, but it's been a crazy ride for the NASDAQ. It's gone really down and a really big, strong day today.
Hey, Joe, excuse me, I mean to cut you off. Do you have a TV or something on in the background?
Hold on, let me see. Maybe that is, yeah, there is something on. Okay, yeah, I got it off.
Thanks.
Yeah, that was on. But yeah, Microsoft's up 5 points, and it just fell in line with everybody's following NVIDIA, which announced earnings, and their earnings are just it's just crazy the money they're making. And first, Pfizer and Apple stayed pretty flat, but NVIDIA went up 58 points, almost 8%. I mean I think they made like $265 billion in the quarter, and they have such a dominant place in this.
Wait, did you just say it made $265 billion in a quarter?
Yeah, it's crazy. That's their revenue. It's retarded the money they're making right now, and they're thinking it may be 3, 4, 5 years before somebody can really challenge their dominance. So I mean, they look like they're going to stay strong. Every analyst is upping their price targets. I saw one at 850 today. So I mean, it's still going strong. I'm still in love with it. Haven't sold it yet. Getting itchy, but I mean, again, I got no reason to sell it because I don't know what I would buy in this market right now. So I'm just going to let it ride and see how far it goes.
Wow, yeah, but like we say, I mean, in 39,000 with the Dow, that's a record, isn't it?
Yeah, it's these some crazy times, and once the Fed decides to start cutting interest rates, I think we'll see the market move a little bit more. But that's still up in the air because so many parts of the economy are still going strong. So the reason they would cut interest rates is to get things moving, but it looks like things are already moving pretty good.
Yeah, Dodo, on one of our mutual funds, we made the highest return in a day. It's like $1,500 today, just on
Yeah.
one fund that we had, me and my wife had with Fidelity, man. So it's amazing how the market is giving these returns. But let's talk about the cryptocurrency market, though. It's only up. It was only up 0.4%. You know, that's 0.004, man. Last week it just jumped up considerably, but the Bitcoin had actually dropped down $661 to $51,297 per Bitcoin. That's a 13% drop, man. I don't know what's happening. I know a lot of people probably cashing out. That's what happens a lot of times with Bitcoins. But can you imagine if people had gotten in 2021 dope when it dropped down to around about 16,000?
Well, I told you about the one music producer. His name is Ryan Leslie. I don't know if any of you have heard his music, but he's a pretty successful music producer. But he got into Bitcoin a long, long time ago, and I think he's hundreds of $1,000,000 rich off Bitcoin. And it's tough. I think Bob's kind of wondering why it's changing. Nobody really knows right now. We think some of the push in the price up of Bitcoin was because there's more opportunities to sell it, with it being, big markets being able to sell mutual funds and that kind of thing with Bitcoin. But until we figure out some rhyme or reason, it's going to be hard to forecast what's exactly going on with Bitcoin. So that's a tough one.
But it's up, like I said, in 2022, 21, the Bitcoin was around about 16,000. It dropped all the way down, and 51,000, that's a big return if people got in. I just want to tell y'all people, the people who got in around that time, you should be sitting pretty well with amount, no matter how much you put in there. That's a great return. Ethereum is the only one that actually went up. It went up about $142 per Ethereum, per cryptocurrency. They up about 5%. That's pretty good. But the Dogecoin, man, it dropped down another notch, though. It's now down to number 12 from number 11. Hasn't been moving. That's the Elon Musk and the guy with the Dallas Mavericks. They banked on it. Doesn't seem like it's doing too well. But that's the state of cryptocurrency. So, where are we? Come back here. Okay. So, let's get into our topic today, man.
Yeah, and it's, we always talking about building wealth, and people work hard to try to get in front of things money-wise so you can enjoy yourself. But I mean, everybody has a limited income, and so we are proponents of keeping track of where your money's going and trying not to spend carelessly. And if you think about some of the ways people waste money, and we're just going to go through some and try to give you some of our thoughts on where people waste money, and give you some ideas about what you can do to maybe make better decisions that will enable you to up how much you save and spend less on things that you don't need to spend less money on. So we're going to talk about wasting money today.
Yeah, because a lot of people, I'm telling you, we really, really burn through a lot of money that we should. But the Federal Reserve, though, in October of 2022, they gave us some information to analyze the financial well-being of households. It was called the Results from the Survey of Household Economics and Decision-Making Report. And it showed that overall financial well-being of adults who were worse off financially a year ago, it rose by 35%, meaning they spending even more on things. And this is the highest level in nearly a decade. Now, whether by poor financial decisions or harsh macroeconomic conditions, it remains extremely important to be financially diligent and make smart choices with your money. So today we're going to take a look at some of the most common mistakes that often can lead people to major economic hardships.
Yeah, and the first one is kind of a good news, bad news. It's investment fees, and that's because if you hire a financial advisor, you know, they can actually be a great asset to you. They can help you figure out your plans, help you determine your risk level, help you figure out where you should invest your money. And if you're paying them, you got to make sure they're earning what you're paying them. And investment fees can a lot of different ways they charge. Some charge by transactions, some charge a flat percentage of how much money you have investment. That could be 1 to 2%, 1 to 2% a year. So if you've got $1 million saved and you start talking between 1 and 2%, that could be $10,000 to $20,000. And so you've got to make sure you're getting your money's worth. Make sure you're talking with them enough that they're listening to you, that they understand what your goals are, what you're trying to get to. And also make sure you have some sort of mechanism to measure their performance. Now, we always use the benchmark of the S&P 500, but you got to be careful with that because we always talk about how that goes up around 9 to 10% a year. So your first thought is, well, if I have an advisor, he should be paying me 9 to 10% a year, or you should be earning 9 to 10% a year. But that's not 100% correct because the S&P 500 is 100% invested in stocks. So that means your risk level is a 10. That means you are very risky because you have 100% of your money invested in stocks. So theoretically, if you say you are a 7 on the 1 to 10 scale, which is still pretty risky, but has some room for conservatism, you're a 7 out of 10, theoretically, you should only expect to make 70% of what the S&P makes. So that's going to be between 6.3% and 7%. And so make sure you take that into account, but make sure you understand how they're going to measure yourself, how they are going to measure themselves. So when you get to the end of the year, the end of a quarter, you can look and say, this is what the S&P did, this is what my guy did. And if he's consistently underperforming, then you may be better off just putting your money in an index fund that mirrors the S&P 500. But there's so many other things you can be getting advice from an advisor from. Make sure you're utilizing all the information they have to offer you, whether it's tax advice, whether it's estate planning, retirement planning, tax planning. Make sure you're getting your money's worth. Understand fully what you're paying for and make sure you're getting all that you're paying for.
And remember, we're talking about common ways that people waste money. So this next one might kind of throw you. It's not focusing on your health. Now, the largest cost to many people, especially older people, is healthcare. And it's a direct result of most people not maintaining a healthy lifestyle. So you would say, well, wait a minute. I spend money on my health care to get better. I'm not saying that's wasted money, but having to pay money to cure yourself because you didn't, at least eat better or go work out or walk around the block. That's the waste of money, believe it or not, that you have, because prevention is always better than the cure. So we need to focus on our health because what good is building wealth and having, being able to go on a trip, have money to buy things, but you don't have good health. So think about that.
Okay, and the next one is when you start giving money away, and I do literally mean giving money away. It could be to your adult children. And I'm not trying to be an expert on raising your kids. Everybody has their own ideas of how that should work. But you've got to set limits, and you don't want to end up giving all your money to your kids when or even something as simple as paying for their college when they can borrow and they have time to make that money back. If you're up in age and you start taking your retirement money and giving it to your kids, you do not have time to make that money back. So just be wise when it comes to giving money to your kids. And again, I'm not telling you how to raise your kids, but just set some boundaries on how much money you're going to give away. Another thing is donations and giving to charities. And once you give to somebody, a lot of times they give your name to other charities, and a lot of people start calling you. And the one thing about being retired is your income is fixed. That means there's no raises, there's no more bonuses, there's no more stock options, all that kind of good stuff goes away. So if you're on a fixed budget, you got to be cognizant of how much money you're giving to charity. And if you do decide to give to charity, make sure it's legit. If you can, look at their financials. And the one thing I always look for is to see what percentage of their administrative costs is of their total expenses. Because the administrative cost is where they pay themselves and how much money they spend on entertainment, how much money they spend on soliciting donations. So try to get a feel for what they're spending in administrative expense and make sure they're not spending too much money there and living a high life off of your donations. So again, just be cognizant of what you're doing. Try to have a plan for your donations. There's nothing wrong with making it tax beneficial. So try to take a look at that to make sure you're maximizing your money and not giving too much money away.
And though this next one we talk about a lot, and we cannot talk enough about it. And it's carrying credit card debt. Now, charging more on a credit card than you can pay off can be a major source of money issues. The carrying credit card debt is a huge money waster for people. I might go as far to say that some people shouldn't even be using credit cards, because some people are on fixed incomes, like you said, and they should just live within their monthly income. Otherwise, it becomes too easy to put things on credit card, and then they have to pay out more money for paying it back over time, thanks to the interest charges. So, what I want to say to people that are, really struggling paying these credit card, carrying these large bills from month to month, these balances, man, consider make most of your purchase with cash, and we like for people we prefer people use a credit card instead of their debit card. But if you're getting in trouble and you can't manage your debt on the credit cards, because I'm telling you, it's a serious waste of your money paying all that interest that you have to pay monthly. Consider paying with cash or consider paying with a debit card. Let me give you the statistic, right? Now, the research from the encyclopedia, right? It says the median rate of interest across all credit cards today, as of December 2023, the average interest rate is 24.37%. Waste of money paying that kind of interest, though.
Hey, Bob, equate that to the rule of 72. That means that debt doubles every 3 years.
Wow.
So if you owe $2,000 and you're paying 24% interest, and you don't make a dent into the principal, you're going to owe double that amount in 3 years. That's how that works. Rule of 72 works both ways, for earning money and also for paying debt. So the next one, and it's kind of funny.
This is funny. I want to hear you do this one, though.
my mother, I'm sure you've heard that old saying, that's like the pot calling the kettle black. But overspending on cars. Like glad we're doing this show at night, because if it was on a rainstorm, I'd get struck by lightning for saying this, because I've wasted a lot of money in my life on cars. But that's my one advice. I don't drink, I don't gamble, I like cars. But truthfully, there's really no reason to have a luxury car in retirement unless you can afford it. You think about it, a $25,000 car and a $100,000 car both get you to the same place from point A to point B. And the thing about having a luxury car is all the ancillary costs that go along with that car. The maintenance is going to be more expensive. The replacement parts are going to be more expensive. Typically, it requires premium gas, which is more expensive. The insurance is more expensive. So there's a lot of things that go along with that. And if you have two cars and you're going into retirement or thinking about trying to save money, maybe you can get by with one car, with using Uber or using that I forgot what that service calls, where you pay a fixed fee every month and you have that flex card. That's what it is. You pay a fee and you have access to a fleet of cars that are located around town. So unless you can afford it and you really, really love cars, I mean, cars are truly a money waster. It's one of the only things that as soon as you buy it, it's worth like 80% of what you paid for it. The minute you drive it off a lot, nothing else has happened to it, but it automatically drops in value. And so if you can, try to limit the amount of money you got tied up in cars. And if you're going to buy a car, do the necessary research and find out which car has a good safety record, which is going to translate to lower insurance costs, which cars have a low maintenance cost, which again is going to translate into you spending less money for maintenance. Look at your gas mileage. Look at how you drive the car. That's going to increase your gas mileage. And just do your analytics to make sure you're not spending any more money than you have to. Because cars are very expensive. If you're really trying to get your money together and trying to get to the point where you're putting money away, you don't want to invest in a car. That car is not an investment. You know, if you're trying to invest, you want to get assets that are appreciating, and cars are definitely not appreciating.
And though I might get beat up for this one, but let me tell you another waste of money with cars. Leasing. Unless you're using it as a company car and you're writing it off, leasing is a car is a waste of money. What do you feel about that, though?
Well, it depends on your situation, and a lot of times companies, car companies will offer very attractive rates to get rid of cars, or to get cars moving off their lot. And so you really got to sit down and do the numbers, or get somebody who's financially inclined to do the numbers for you, because they're really selling the car to you, and you're paying for use of the car for a specific period of time. And so what you have to do is look at what you're paying for that car over that lease period and determine if you bought the car, and sit down and compare those numbers. In some cases, it is beneficial to lease. In a few cases. In most cases, it's not, and that's going to keep you paying a car note. Now, the way you get ahead financially is buying an inexpensive car, getting it paid off, and living without a car note. Obviously, you're going to have more money in your pocket if you're doing that, if you're not paying that car note. And as your car get older, insurance cost goes down. Now your maintenance costs may go up, but again, you have to take good care of it to make sure it does keep running. And if you can get a 4-year car note, or even a 5-year car note, keep that car for 10 years. You got 5 years of no car note. That's how you get ahead of the game.
Hey, Dope, let me tell you, falling victim to scams is a common waste of money. Now, I know it's easy for me to say, but check this out, Dope. Older people are 35 more times than younger groups to be targeted as individuals with these sophisticated systems and legitimate sounding personnel ready to drain the bank account of unsuspecting older people. Now, the best way to avoid losing money to a scam is to educate yourself. You can sign up for email alerts about common scams by visiting the ftc.gov/scams. Think about it, you all. So many people don't, I didn't realize was getting caught, and just, man, people taking monies, man, on these scams. And we did a show on that a couple of weeks ago. But that's such a waste of money. and I know people are victims, but the way to prohibit it is get smarter.
And Bob, there's a new one that it's pretty amazing. This financial advisor, and she was not an older person. She was actually in her 40s. And she got scammed by someone calling and saying they were from the CIA. They had her social security number, her address, and they had a lot of information about her, which led her to believe it was legit. And she ended up losing 50,000 bucks and just feeling absolutely miserable about it, as you can imagine. But I just can't tell you enough. If somebody calls you and you don't know who it is, just don't answer it, because they are getting so good at scamming, and AI is only going to make it worse when they can imitate your voice. And that's the other one where they call and ask, try to get you to say yes, and so then they can go to like your insurance agency and find out information about you. So if you don't know who's calling, just don't answer the phone.
Or if you
The
do
next,
answer, go right quick. If you do answer the phone, pick it up and don't say nothing. Because normally, if it's AI, it'll just cut off. But wait till somebody says something. You know,
yeah,
that's
and
the
don't
other
say
thing.
yes. Do
Don't
not
and
say
don't
yes.
say, is this Bobby Kinzer? Yeah, no, 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 no. That's if they start, just hang up the phone. And the other thing though too is these scammers are getting so much smarter. And the thing is, you just gotta really, you all, one of the keys is don't get, we get too fast. We get to moving too fast. We're doing several things, and that's how they call you. And if you're telling you got to do it right away, the thing is, don't be so fast, especially on those when you're on the computer with your emails. You all, that's another way they can scam you and put Trojans. You know, you think it's because they got a logo that looks like your company. Slow down. That's one of the ways to help you prevent these scammers. They get you by getting you excited, making you rush. Got to do it now. So just slow down on that computer and them emails and really look at the extensions of what you're doing.
Yeah, and this one's near and dear to both of us because we really feel bad. And as we get older, we become creatures of habit. And that's why I encourage you, just don't answer the phone, because it's hard not to say, yeah. If somebody is this so and so, can you hear me? Yes. You know, there's a lot of questions that just out of habit you're going to say yes to. So just don't answer the phone. That's the easiest way to do it. The next big way of wasting money is on your home. And a lot of times people will make upgrades that might not be necessary or may not translate into more money when you sell your home. So you got to be careful of that too. And so make sure any investment you make in your home is wise. And a lot of people go get home equity loans, and the way the commercials are formatted, it makes it seem like you're getting free money. But understand, a loan is a loan, okay? And unless you're going to take that loan and use that money to make more money, you're going backwards by borrowing money because you're paying interest that you don't need to borrow. And that goes right along with borrowing from your savings plan or to fund certain projects. And that's the worst thing you can do, is take money out of your retirement accounts too early to do a remodeling project or make a large purchase or take a vacation or buy a car, you know. But your home is your home. Try not to put too much money into it. If you're going to make upgrades, try to do something that you're going to see on the other end when you sell that is going to add to the value, not something that you may just like individually, but may not be attractive to the next person who wants to buy that house. And so just be cognizant when it comes to making upgrades on your house. And the other big thing is people who want to buy that big house that they've never had. And you wait until you've been around for a while, and then you realize that your kids are going to be gone in a few years, and you're going to have that big old house to yourself. And the other thing, just like with a luxury car, those big houses come with a lot of ancillary costs with maintenance and yard work and upkeep and replacement parts and those kinds of things. So just be cognizant. Don't overextend yourself on a house or upgrade, and try not to tap into money you've put away for the long term.
So let's talk a little bit about how people waste money with mindless spending, though. Not being intentional with their money. Not getting the most use out of their money. Because some people tend to have a lot more time on their hands. And with that, they find themselves browsing and spending money at the mall or filling up their cart online. And it's often for stuff they don't really need, but it's something to do. And it will be better to find out and develop a hobby to fill that time that may still require a little money, but not as much as mindless shopping. I mean, I know a lot of people shop for therapy, when they're depressed, but you ended up wasting a lot of money because shopping isn't the only hobby that can be a money sucker. Everything must remain within moderation. Don't get me wrong. And that goes for any costly hobby you may enjoy. Now, before you decide you want to go on that scuba diving trip or that yacht racing or a big cruise, make sure money you will need to fund these activities won't blow your budget. And another mindless spending one, though, is on cell phone bills. They have become increasingly expensive. And a lot of retirees could be paying for unused data and other extra things that unknowingly. They could be overpaying for cable and other bills too. Just be sure you ask your carrier if they offer discounts for seniors. For all our seniors out there, just ask because they have like T-Mobile and Sprint both have an exclusive plan for customers 55 years and older. And it never hurts to ask if you're, if you're on, never hurts to ask if you're on another carrier. Cable companies and satellite television providers are also notorious for slowly increasing your bill over time or offering promotional pricing, right? For 1 or 2 year period. Even if you're under contract, you can call and ask if you can get a better rate or downgrade your TV package. Ask yourself if you really need items that you keep paying every month, year after year.
Yeah, the next one is we don't profess to be insurance experts, but there are some fundamental things you need to think about when you buy insurance. A lot of people have insurance that they don't truly need. And you really need to look and determine what the purpose of that insurance is. I mean, obviously, if you're working and you have kids to support, or you have a spouse whose income you'd have to replace if something was to happen to them, or you have a spouse who doesn't work, who takes care of kids at home, who, if for some reason they were to go away, you would have to replace, you have to need money to do what they did. So there are situations where you need insurance. Just make sure you're getting the insurance that fits your particular need. If you just need pure insurance, then you might want to get term insurance for a specific period of time, just for the period that you need insurance. And some people have disability insurance. And when it's kind of crazy, when you're younger, you're more likely to get disabled than you are to die. And so a lot of young people might not have disability insurance, but they might need it. But if you're no longer working, you probably don't need any disability insurance. So just make sure you have the insurance that you need and you're not paying for any that you don't need.
Now, that's talking about, insurance that you don't need. How about overspending on insurance that you do need? For the insurance plans you do need, make sure you're getting the best rates possible. Whether it's auto, home, health, or life insurance, people are likely overpaying for insurance. As far as your auto insurance goes, make sure you periodically check other insurance companies and make sure you're still getting a good deal on your policy. Now, depending on your state of residence, see if discounts are available for completing like a defensive driving course, something as simple as that. Reducing your homeowner's policy, your home insurance policy, Let your insurance company know. Call them, ask them, because they got all the time. Many insurance companies offer discounts. And finally, make sure that the beneficiaries are up to date on your life insurance policies. For example, if your spouse passed away or you remarried, and you can likely decrease coverage if your spouse passed away. Another one, if your mortgage is paid off or if your children are adults, it's essential to have policies reviewed periodically to ensure that you have the best rates and the appropriate insurance for your needs, especially while you're heading toward retirement or you are in retirement.
The next one, and this is one that's kind of gotten crazier and crazier. Frequently eating out can get crazy expensive because everything has gone up a great deal, and the tip you have starting at the tip in, and people are saying 20% is now the norm, and eating out is get crazy expensive, and it's really hard to find healthy food. Bob mentioned before about trying to have a healthy lifestyle, but if you're eating out all the time, it's difficult to get a healthy meal while you're eating out. I mean, obviously, going to a nice place every now and then, you kind of need to do that just for your own well-being. But if you get to the point where you're doing that too often, you can find yourself spending way too much money eating out. So you got to be cognizant of that. If you blow $25 a week eating out, that's $1,300 a year. And you start looking at that over a period of time, you start seeing 5 years, that's $6,500. And so just be cognizant of what you're spending. If you're worried about your health, there's nothing going to be better for you than food that you prepare yourself, where you know what's in it. And restaurant food is usually it is designed to taste good, not so much to be healthy, because to make it taste good, it usually is going to have fat, sodium, and a whole lot of other stuff that you probably don't need to have. So be cognizant of what you spend on eating out.
Hey, Joe, you remember Jack LaLanne, the fitness old guy,
Yeah.
fitness buff? He used to say, if it tastes good, spit it out. He said, if you can't pick it up, don't eat it. Meaning if you can't lift a cow, if you can't lift a pig, don't eat
That
it.
makes sense.
I know, doesn't it? No, let me tell you another one, man. It's a waste of money. Paying more taxes than needed. And when it comes to retirement planning, most people are focused on their 401k plans, investment returns, and budgeting. But they do not plan for their taxes in advance. And ultimately, we all have to pay taxes. But with proper advanced tax planning, people can avoid unpleasant surprises and keep more money for themselves. For instance, though, if you did not pay enough in taxes last year, the penalty went from 3% to 8%. That's if you just didn't pay enough taxes. And a lot of people don't realize that there's a penalty for not paying enough of your taxes. But be conscious of your taxes, because that is definitely a drainer on your savings and on your retirement funds.
Yeah, and believe it or not reviewing your investment portfolio can cost you a lot of money. It's not something you can just put on autopilot and never have to review. We always talk about it takes work to build wealth. And a lot of times you have to make adjustments to your portfolio. You might need to readjust how much you have in particular items. You may need to make some changes into where your money's going. And if you think you can just do it and forget it, no, it's not going to work that way. You can end up either not selling something that you might need to sell, or maybe not buying something that you need to buy. So you've got to review your portfolio. You have to keep it fine-tuned to make sure it's where you want it to be, it's heading in the direction that you want it to go, and that things are as you plan them to be. If you don't review your portfolio at least every quarter, I would recommend you do it at least once or twice a month, just to make sure you're okay. Unless you're just buying index fund and just saying, I'm not going to worry about it. But if you're truly worried about building wealth, you've got to review how your money's doing and where it's going.
Yeah, that's a good one, though. Another one is cashing out their savings or their retirement plans. We've talked about this before. We're big proponents that you should never take the money out of your retirement plan. But taking a lump sum on your savings or retirement plans can sound tempting. Who wouldn't want the extra money, you know, in the bank earning interest. Unfortunately, doing so can cost you thousands of dollars that your financial advisor receives as commissions. So losing the power of compounding, it's very hard to pay back those retirement funds. And it could be hit you could be hit with hefty fees. And with the right mindset, borrowing from your retirement account can be a viable option. But even the most disciplined planners have tough times placing that money back and rebuilding those accounts. We say we want to put it back in, and a lot of times we don't. But before making significant financial decisions, make sure you take time. Don't feel pressure and read the fees. Don't talk about that earlier. The fees can kill you. And read the fine print to make sure that the appropriate time, that you time it right to withdraw your funds. Now, if you are going to pay off debt with savings, you have to live like you still have debt to pay to your retirement fund. So think about that saying. Think about what I just said. You're paying off the debt with your savings, but now you got to remember you still need to think about your retirement fund.
And last but not least, you got to be able to differentiate wants and needs. And if you have a long-term goal and you're buying things that don't help you meet that goal, then you're really just going in circles. You're not making any progress at all. And sometimes it's tough to differentiate, but really it's not. You know what you need. You know what things add value to you. You know what things are going to appreciate in value. And you know what things you're buying just to either impress somebody or just because you want it, or as Bob said, you're making a emotional purchase because you're upset or you're bored or something else, one of those kind of crazy reasons. You got to ask yourself, do I really need this item? Is it worth what I'm paying for? Is it going to help me reach my goals? You got to look at what you're spending your money on and realize every money decision you make is going to cost you money, and it may keep you from getting where you need to be. And the funny thing about building wealth is once you start and then you start making money on what you have, it's kind of like a drug. You kind of like the feel of that, of waking up the next day and having more money than you had when you went to bed because the interest rate went up, or you got a dividend or something of that sort. And so think about those things you're buying that don't really add to what you're trying to do and try to eliminate those.
Yeah, that wants versus needs is a tough one though, because we're not saying live like a hermit, live like you're in a box, a shoebox. Enjoy yourself. But all we're saying is, make some good decisions with your money, because you can waste a lot of money. And some of those for us retirees, you can't get that money back. But so we hope that this was something helpful to you tonight. And if y'all got any questions, put them in the comment box, because we like to make this interactive too. And that's the way that we can make this interactive. And some of y'all have been putting comments in the box, and I've been showing them. So thank you very much. Because Joanne says, do not let your wants outdo your needs. That is so true, Joanne. But we can get caught up. And there's so many nice things, though, these days. You know what I'm saying? There's so many things that you can spend money on.
And Bob, sometimes it ain't really nice. It's just the marketing is so smooth. And you don't realize you're reacting to marketing versus something that you really, really want or need. So you just got to be careful and be really focused on what you really are trying to do, and not let somebody's commercial or somebody or seeing something that looks good on somebody else make you want to spend more money than you should spend.
Yeah, that's that's so important though, because they got so many nice things out there to make you want to go out there and buy. So let's
Hey Bob, one of the best ones, if you go out on some sites and you look at something and you may put it in your cart, and you don't purchase it and you go do something else. And they'll often now send you an email with a 10% off that item you have in your cart. Under Armour does that, which is really another really good marketing tool to try to get you to spend that money. And if you really just sit back and there's a season to buy everything. And we talked about this before, like buying your Christmas presents at the Black Friday sales, or certain times buying a car, especially if it's a car you're gonna keep for a while, buying it when the new model is about to come out, when they're discounting those cars tremendously. There are certain times of the year that appliances are on sale. There are certain times of the year that mattresses are on sale. And some of those things you got to buy when you need it. Obviously, if your refrigerator goes, you got to get one. But a lot of things you can buy at specific times. And don't be ashamed to use coupons. Don't be afraid to join their reward programs, because a lot of times they'll give you hints on when they're going to have sales and special deals and things of that sort. Just try to be on top of your money game and stretch whatever you have and try to earn as much as you can. That's the goal.
Yeah, that's dope. That brings me to this next book that I'm writing. Is called How to Keep from Getting Got. Consumer Guide to Overcoming Salesmen, Marketeers, and Scammers. I'm really looking forward to writing that book because there's so many people, like I said, trying to get that extra dollar out your pocket. Or as we say in accounting, they're trying to move things that are on your general ledger over to their general ledger. It's crazy, man. So let's get into talking about the summaries and takeaways, because we've talked a lot and always do. Let's go to the summaries. Okay, I'll go first, though. Number one, be intentional about spending. Be intentional. Be cost conscious about your spending. Put your money to good use. I mean, come on, you work hard for this money. Really think about those things that you be purchasing. Be intentional. Think about it before you be about spending that money. And it'll save you a lot from wasting a whole lot of dollars. All we have to do is, like I said, about the scam, just slow down and think about, do I really need this? Be intentional about your spending.
Have a plan, and try to stick to it. You got to have some idea of where you're trying to go and realize that that plan may need to be revised at some point. So you do have to take a look at it and make sure it's going in the direction you want it to go. But you have to have a plan. Otherwise, you'll just be wasting money and spending money that you don't need to spend because you don't have a plan.
And avoid emotional spending. I know some of y'all are self-medicating with shopping and going out. No, avoid emotional spending. And what that also means, how you can avoid emotional spending, just understand your needs versus your wants. I mean, we know we've heard that 1,000 times, but you can't hear it enough because it's just that simple. Don't get emotional. And I know a lot of people, they like I said, stress, and they like buying things, especially how they make things so available online. But be careful with emotional spending. Please avoid it.
And finally, stay on top of your finances. It takes works to build wealth. It takes effort. It takes diligence. It takes discipline to build wealth. Stay on top of things. Don't keep your alerts. Keep track of your alerts. Be cognizant of scammers. Just put some time into keeping on top of your money game.
And we know that was a lot, but remember the top of the title was common. I'm talking about common ways that people waste money. We hope that was helpful. And if y'all got some of them out there, you can still put them in the comment box and let us know if you have some of the things. But remember, if you have some topics that you like for us to cover, in the weeks coming, please put them in to the Tracy's crazy. Tracy just wrote, "What if shopping is a hobby and not emotional?" It's, that's funny. You don't need to be doing shopping for a hobby, okay? Emotional, not emotional. That's funny, Tracy. That's a good one, though. But put some comments out there, y'all. I mean, if you got some show, and remember, show ideas. And remember, share this Facebook Live. You can share with as many people as you can. We want more people to use. Just don't hoard this information for yourself. And also, if you're on YouTube, please subscribe and have people subscribe to our station. So, with that, we thank you all. And as we always do at the end of the show, we like to do roll call because we really appreciate you all that come in and listen and learn and share this information. It's wonderful. My first person up, though, was my sister Nola. She was on at 8:01. My sister, way to be on time, Nola. Love you so much. Garnett Nickens, how you doing, dear? And then my wonderful sister, Linda Kinzer Sai. So glad you're out there. And my screen got smaller for some reason, lost the place. Rodney L. Madison Sr., thenoteexperience.com. If you want to learn about other investments, especially about mortgage notes as an investment, please go out there and check them out. Joanne Skinner, thank you. Tracy Denise Jackson, FDIC's finest. Sheila King joining us. Hey, Sheila, I'm so glad to see you out there. What's up, my good friend? My other sister. That's my sister from another mister. And then my sister, Gloria. What's up, Gloria? Gloria's out there on YouTube. Thank you for checking us out. And my good brother, Carl. Hey, Carl, what's up, brother, man? Glad you're out there. Glad you joining us. And hey, Lori. Oh my God, a lot of good information. Lori. What's up, Lori Labat? Thanks for checking us out. Please make sure you share, and thank you for everybody checking us out. And next week we have a topic that we hope is useful to you. So thank you all. And remember, put that money in the right place. Y'all take good care, and we see you next week, which would be, and it's next week. Yeah, no, we got
Leap year.
So it will be the 29th. So we will see y'all on leap year. But next year, we won't see you on leap year. It'll be 4 years from now. All right, y'all, take good care. Good night, and may peace be with you.